Hi, I'm Mark Mifflin. I'm a member of the Legislative Committee of the Illinois Association of Defense Trial Counsel. It's March 25th. I just want to give you a little update about the activities of the IDC in the legislature and the issues that the legislature is considering. First, let me tell you that the legislature is in the middle of its spring break. It will reconvene, the House and the Senate will both reconvene on April 4th. So there's no activity this week or next week. But after that, on April 4th, the committees will really pick up. The deadline to get bills out of committees in the House, to get House bills out of the House and Senate bills out of the Senate committees, is April 8th. So that week will be a busy week. They may give some relief from those deadlines, but they're going to shoot to try to get that done. So there'll be a lot of activity during that first week of April. The floor then, after the bills get out of committee, there will be floor action until April 28th, when the House bills are expected to be passed by the House and the Senate bills are expected to be passed by the Senate. Again, there might be some relief from those deadlines, but generally those deadlines, they shoot for those deadlines, so there'll be a lot of activity during the month of April. And then in May, the bills will go over to the other House. The bills that pass will go over to the other House, and in time for the end of May session deadline in the legislature. One of the biggest issues we've been working on in the legislature revolves around Senate Bill 2801. That's a bill introduced by the insurance industry through Senator Mulrow, addressing the conflict of interest issues arising in the Pepper situation, where there are covered and uncovered counts or covered and uncovered factual situations that need to be addressed. The insurance industry is attempting to codify the conflict and how it's to be resolved. We have expressed to them some concern in light of the Peppers case and all of the cases that followed it, to make sure that whatever is done in the legislature, if anything, that it's done in conformance with the Supreme Court directives and guidelines on this area. So we are engaged in discussions with the insurance industry, and they're friendly discussions. I mean, they are our friends, obviously, and we are working with them to try to get this resolved. I'm not sure we'll be able to get it resolved in time for the current deadlines. It may be that this will have to be put over for further discussions, but I just wanted you to know that that issue is out there, and it is being addressed extensively by the IDC with the insurance industry. And then if we come to an agreement on something that should go forward, then it will be put forth in the legislature by way of an amendment, likely. And then the other parties would be able to, like the trial lawyers and the Med Society, have expressed some issues, concern about this. So that is pending in the legislature. Another issue that has come to the forefront is House Bill 6083. There's an amendment that's been filed. This bill relates to extending the statute of limitations in certain specified wrongful death cases. As the bill was filed, it applied to all wrongful death cases, but there is an amendment that is being filed that will be heard in committee during that first week of April to limit the extent, but we're looking at that too to see, to make sure that there's no serious issues with that, and we may well have to continue to seek amendments to that bill. There are many bills that have been filed with reference to the six-person jury law. Most of them are efforts to repeal the six-person jury law. Some of them are an effort to temper that. Those bills are all on hold right now because the Caicos case is pending in the Illinois Supreme Court. In fact, the Supreme Court has accelerated the docket in that case. The appellant's brief is due today on March 25th. The appellee's brief is due on April 15th, and then the reply brief from the appellants is due on April 29th, or April 28th, I believe. And that's, the IDC expects to file an amicus brief on behalf of the appellees in that case. The anticipation is that it will be set for oral argument during the week of May 9th, and then we can expect a decision as early as July when the Supreme Court issues its decisions over the summer, or certainly by the fall when the Supreme Court reconvenes its regular schedule after the summer. So we are involved in that. We are looking forward to involving ourselves in that issue in the Supreme Court because we know that is a very important issue to the defense counsel and our clients. Another issue that is important to us is Senate Bill 3070. That deals with codification of the public duty rule. The Supreme Court recently struck down the public duty rule, and this bill would attempt to codify that. Unfortunately, that bill has not been moving in the legislature. And similarly, I regret to report that our two bills that we worked with the sponsors on, Representative Sandak on House Bill 4426 and Senator Radogno on Senate Bill 2310, dealing with joint and several liability and including all of the tortfeasors on the verdict form and informing the jury, or not informing the jury of the fact of their ramifications, the ramifications of their findings of more than 50% of the fault by the plaintiff. We want to make it so the jury is not told the effect of any of their findings, and so that all of the tortfeasors are included on the verdict form. Those bills have not been moving yet either, so we're hopeful that they can get moving, but at this point it's getting later and later, and they just may well not be called by the democratically controlled legislature. So those are some of the issues we're following. We will continue to follow them. I am certain that there will be additional issues that arise in the legislature that we don't even know about yet, and we will continue to work on those until the end of the spring session at the end of May. And then the legislature will come back in the fall veto session sometime probably October, November. And I got to tell you that still the legislature is still in a deadlock with reference to the budget and some of the other issues, the work comp issues particularly. Governor Rauner has continued to insist that they be addressed, but those are not being addressed at this point. There is a bill to require a state fund or to institute a state fund in the insurance or in the work comp field, which would basically be a state-controlled or state-run insurance company. That bill is set for a committee hearing next week or the first week of April, but it may not go. It's been introduced every year for a few years, so we don't anticipate that will go, but we will continue to watch that. So if you have any questions, you can check on our website, go to the members only section and the advocacy part, and you ought to be able to find the bills that we're following and the status of those bills. So if you have any input, let us know. Just send us an email, and we'll be glad to take everything you say into account and respond to you if we need further information. Thank you very much.